Let's go ahead and rank what I think to be the most probable afterlife options that exist or theories that are out there from what I think is the best and what I think is the worst. Somebody else did this, it's where I got the idea for this. Credit to them, obviously. But let's start off with what I think would be the worst, which is the theory of eternal recurrence. This theory is where as soon as you die, you're brought back right to the start of your life, and you basically relive your entire life. Every choice you ever made, every decision that you've had goes the exact same. And I think that this is just insufferable because it's not fun. It's not really anything. It's not like you know you're reliving. It to me it throws off time, it throws off progression, and to me it's a kind of a nonsensical idea. I included it on the list because I thought it was the worst, and I thought it'd be fun to have something that was truly terrible. Um, so let's talk about some other ones that I think would be pretty low in the tier list, and that would be the simulation theory. This is that we're basically being simulated. Some advanced aliens are coding us. We're ones and zeros on their screen. We're in the Sims for somebody else. I think that this is not the worst because the idea of having a statistic sheet at the end of our lifespan is really cool to me. When we die, it would be fascinating to see how many times did I pee, how many humans did I meet, how many times did I hurt myself. You know what I mean. I think that this is one of the only forms of afterlife that you'd get a real numerical description to some of these things, but it also removes the specialty of life. We're not these humans that evolved over time, and this whole story of Earth were ones and zeros. So it has the upside of these cool statistics that we get to see that we wouldn't get to otherwise. It has the downside of, life not being very unique and it being kind of miserable. I think what goes in hand with this, with the simulation theory, is the ghost theory. Really, just you die, you become a ghost. You're floating around Earth, you're watching. I think this one sucks more than the simulation because it it doesn't value life by you kind of continuing on as yourself, which to me is tough because you're basically just watching history play out. And I'm not a big observer guy. I don't want to just watch things play out. If I can't take part in history, I don't want to be a part of it. So I think that being a ghost, well, it'd be cool to watch, maybe your kids grow up and all that kind of stuff. Um, I think it is still kind of brutal. Next, I think on the tier list, I'm gonna go ahead and place heaven slash hell. I'm including it on the same tier list because it kind of comes in the same vein to me, where your decisions as a human on Earth impact what your afterlife ends up being. I like this because it puts the choice in your hands as to what your fate will be. You can either, depending on the religion, it's going to vary on the definition of good and bad, but if we use a more traditional Christian aspect, if you pray, accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you'll end up in heaven. If you commit acts of evil, you'll end up in hell. I like this purely because you can coast through life not being an asshole, and in theory, you'll probably go to heaven. Yeah, when you talk to pastors, it's not like you can't sin. It'd be a ridiculous concept. The idea is that nobody's pure of sin, so you just kind of have to be fine, okay, mediocre, and you're guaranteed eternal salvation in heaven, which is a pretty good gig. It's separate from Earth, so it's not like you're being a ghost or anything. And obviously, hell is not great, but you just don't have to suck, and you won't be there. Um, so to me, it finds itself into the B tier. I don't hate it there. To me, it's just not likely from my religious perspective, but I wouldn't hate it. The second thing I'm going to go ahead and put on this B tier is reincarnation. I have it lower than heaven or hell, but to me, it's just like weird. The idea that reincarnation is the idea that when you die, you're going to be a bird or a kid from India or Dawn. Just you're reincarnated as a new form of life. To me, this is interesting because there's no, it's not you, and it kind of means nothing. It kind of has the idea of there being a soul where it's not your mind, it's not your body, but the essence of who you are gets translated into this new being. And it's wholesome, this like recycling of souls kind of idea. And I'm sure it'd be fun to be a dog or be just a different human and have a different life. But to me, it kind of loses the lust, the bravado that this kind of reincarnation would bring because you don't know. You don't, it's not like you're going to have any sort of memory transfer or anything like that. And to me, that's where it loses a lot of its it factor. What I think is going to go ahead and be on the A tier here is there being absolutely nothing. No afterlife. When you die, it is blank nothingness. I think that this is not only what is the correct option, what I think is actually going to happen, but I think the best option because it makes your life so valuable. All of these other options could make you look forward to something after your life, which to me is so, I don't want to use the word delusional, but it seems like you're missing the point. It, instead of worrying about what you're going to be like after life, how about you worry about what you're going to do tomorrow? To me, there being no afterlife makes life so much more precious and valuable that it makes me prefer because all of these other options, death is almost, and not that it doesn't matter, but it's almost like an option. It's almost exciting. If you're going to heaven, why would you not just kill yourself to get there faster? Obviously, suicide's a sin in that scenario, but if you'd rather be a bird, just off yourself and be a bird after. Or you want to spectate life, be a ghost. To me, it's so much more sincere to think that my tomorrow is going to matter so much because you only have so many more tomorrows. And I like that idea. And it also makes the most sense because there's no gods, there's no magic idea, there's no absurd computers, ghosts aren't real. Yeah, I think that it's the most likely, and I think that life is better that way. Thinking that you're gonna be you're gonna have options after you die, to me is a miserable way to live. And I think that that's something that most people should accept. I hope you guys like this. Like I said, or maybe I didn't say, but somebody else came up with this idea. I just thought it'd be fun to go ahead and copy it. But yeah, thanks.